my mom, she's from Vietnam, but she was like a disco chick. That was her thing. And my dad was a classic rock guy.
Okay.
And I was an anomaly.
At one point, I used to actually rap.
Yeah. Okay. Like when you're that young?
Yeah, like teenager.
Okay. You know, when DC Talk was out, I was listening to like Daz Effects, Gangstar. So compared to Gangstar or Daz Effects, those guys I'm like,
yeah, they're
like
I just very different level.
Yeah, not the same, not even close.
I mean, they're not even. So for instance, I watched people watch Shawshank Redemption on YouTube. I watched like maybe 7, 8 different versions of people watching stupid movie.
That's the scariest thing too. You're seeing the countdown of the song, getting ready to end, and you don't have your next song queued up, ready to go. Like, oh, like all that stress.
It actually is a scary thing. Like you feel that panic. You're like, you know,
right.
You know that whole thing of, oh, you like that part. I love that part too. And I want a person when I'm making my mix, I want them to feel it exactly like I feel it.
Yeah. I'm Scott DeVore. My close friends call me Free. You're watching the Free Factor podcast. I'm with my main man, special guest, DJ Tituz.
What's going on, guys?
We got a good show today. We're gonna actually talk a little bit about DJ Tituz and his background, and we're gonna talk about the 2023 being the 50th anniversary of hip hop music.
Hip-hop.
You know, there's a bunch of lists out there, some rankings. We're gonna share some of our thoughts on that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about our top 5s, who we think are the GOATs. Then we're actually gonna break it down into the subgenre CHH. Tell them what the CHH stands for if you don't know.
Christian hip hop.
Christian hip hop. Yep. Yes, sir. So, we're big Christian hip hop guys. We just love hip hop in general, but we're like I said, we're fans of that subgenre, and we have some thoughts. I feel like it's, the talent is just as good as just mainstream hip hop.
Absolutely.
So we're going to get into that, but DJ Tituz, I'm just going to have you kind of just share about your background. Then I'm going to ask you some questions, kind of dig into a little bit deeper, just kind of start wherever you want, man. Just tell us who you are.
Wow, my background. Let's see. DJ Tituz, born in 1971, back in Mobile, Alabama. I remember, speaking of 50 years of hip hop, I remember us being my mom and whoever, boyfriend or whatever it was at the time. I don't even know. Anyway, us pulling up, coming home from somewhere and pulling up, and the radio was on. And what's the old school? I forget. I can't remember now.
Oh, Sugar Hill Gang.
Sugar Hill Gang.
Yeah.
Was on the radio for the first time, we all sat in the car.
Oh, that's awesome.
And just listened to this song for the first time, and we were just like, "What is this?"
Yeah,
that's crazy that has been around for 50 years.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy that you were actually in the car hearing that on the radio for the first time. Man.
Right?
Yeah.
It blows my mind now, that I got to experience that, firsthand way back when.
Yeah. So
and didn't know, didn't know it was going to make history.
So were you about like 5, 6 years old?
Yeah, I think so, like roughly? 6 years old,
okay.
Something like that.
Okay. So that was like the first, like experience. One of the first hip hop songs ever.
Yeah.
And then hearing it for the first time. So you're 70s. I'm born in the 70s too, man. Yeah. So, definitely one of the best decades to be from. So Mobile, Alabama, I think, like my parents love music. They weren't like, my mom, she's from Vietnam, but she was like a disco chick. That was her thing. And my dad was a classic rock guy.
Okay.
And I was an anomaly. So I remember when I was about 7 or 8 years old, like a neighborhood kid introduced me to hip hop.
Yeah.
Because there was like no hip hop. I'm from Western Maryland, so not from a big city, and I think it was probably like a Run DMC or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, this is I like how this sounds. And then I got my first record on Christmas. I think when I turned 8 years old, it was the LL Cool J Bigger and Deffer.
Oh, man.
So it was the first record I ever had. It was actually the only. I mean, I got records like later on, but that was like. The cassette tape era was like in full swing. This is like in the late 80s, and then, CDs came out, in the 90s. But back to you, man. So from that story here in Sugar Hill Gang, like, just kind of walk me through, like, from 5, 6 years old until you became a teenager, like, what was that musical influence in your life?
Well, my oldest brother, who was a drummer, he introduced me to a lot of, I guess he used to get, people. I don't know where Tim used to get this music from, whatever, but he knew people from the North.
Okay.
Because that's where you got music, from the East Coast back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace, Tim. That's my oldest brother. He just died like last year.
Oh man, sorry to hear that.
Yeah. But like I remember, that song "Doom Da Da Doom Doom Doom" by George Krantz.
Okay.
Man, that song changed my life. Like, because he did, because it was the first time you heard, like, and it wasn't a rap song, but it was one of those breakbeat songs that, which is, breaking is part of hip hop.
Right.
Breaking and what, not spray painting, graffiti.
Graffiti, yeah.
DJs.
Yep.
MCs.
Yep.
What else? I think it's like 5 elements. I can't think.
I don't know, man. I'm not sure what the 5
I think it was the 5th element.
Okay.
I can't think of
All
what,
right,
what
we'll have
that
to
is
look
right
that
now.
up.
Anyway, at one point, I used to actually rap.
Yeah. Okay. Like when you were that young?
Yeah, like teenager.
Okay.
I used to get into little rap battles. I sucked. I thought I was good, but I sucked at it. Used to go by the name of Chili D.
Chili D?
Yeah.
Okay.
D being my middle initial.
Chili D. All right. What was Chili like your nickname, or you just came up with that yourself?
Some
okay.
dumb.
Oh, no, that's
dope.
dope. I can see that. I can see that. I know you've had like some other like DJ names before you've settled on DJ
T Daddy Barlow, which was my first DJ name. Which that a lot of people thought that was laughable. I didn't think it was very marketable either. So I changed that after a while. Went with DJ Battalion for a second.
Okay.
For like a very brief second.
That's that I feel something when I hear DJ Battalion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
I feel like that's force.
But it didn't. And I also wanted to try DJ Reacher. Like Jack Reacher, but reaching people. But I talked to this one DJ who had the name, and he wasn't using it really, and hadn't really done anything with it. So I was like, "Hey, bro, can I have this name?" He was like, "Nah, I'm gonna keep it."
Okay, man, Battalion, man, dude, I like that. You might have to, I don't know, you might have to have an alias or something.
DJ Battalion,
and bring that one back.
Mm.
Sorry, so you're doing some freestyling. That wasn't your thing. When did you know DJing was your thing? Like, kind of what was the story? When did you like, man, I love like the art of DJing. Like, was there like someone that you saw DJing?
Back in the day, I used to always make mixtapes and stuff. But back in the day, you had to do it from the radio.
Right.
You put your cassette player
dude,
next to.
I know all about that. Okay.
And you kind of capture your songs and make your mix CDs and stuff. And that was kind of the thing.
So were you mixing then, or you just like recording the songs? Like
recording the songs.
When did you actually get a mixer? When did you actually start like going from one track to the next with a mixer? How did you do that first time?
That was it had to be around 2008 or something like that.
Okay. How did you get introduced to the equipment? Like, how did you know, hey, this is the thing where you can go from one track to the next? And
well, see, at first I didn't use equipment. All I used was virtual DJ on a laptop.
Okay.
That was my start.
Okay, so that was like way ahead. So how, like we'll get to there, but we're going from teens to when you got to that point. Was there like kind of fill me in with the story from there like those years, like what were you up to, like what was going on in your life?
Well, I mean, so 2008, that's way far ahead, like you said. But if we're talking back to the teens to, I don't know, 20s or so, really, I actually was big into listening to metal and stuff like that for a while. So
okay,
I was out of hip hop for a second.
Like, was there like a reason why you made that change?
I didn't like the way hip hop was sounding, because hip hop was actually going on a positive note like towards the end of the 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
And then it just went into like
like Heavy D, like what you just it wasn't hard enough for you?
Like KRS-One,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Okay.
Those guys were speaking Public Enemy. Those guys were speaking some positive stuff, and then like NWA came along, and next thing you know, there was like all this negative and B words and stuff like that.
Right.
So
it's crazy how it changed.
yeah,
Like it
changed
it went
drastically.
like it did a 180, like
Yeah.
NWA.
It changed drastically.
Yeah, and like I don't think people were ready for it, man.
No.
Like
I wasn't. I was like,
and then like in that, and then like all those movies, because I remember like all my favorite movies. Like, so I'm like a teen, early teens back then. Boys in the Hood, Juice. I mean, that's a classic DJ movie.
Juice.
But I just remember watching like all these movies. Like, I pretty much had a green light. Like I could do whatever I want. I was running the streets. I mean, I was in living in projects back then. But
Scott from the Hood.
The thing for me was when I would listen to. So this is like in the late '80s. I would listen to like LL Cool J, his first album, Radio.
Yeah, Radio.
And you hear Rock the Bells.
Yeah.
And just like that Cut Creator cutting it up. I'm like, okay. So I was just like kind of feeling that.
Yeah.
So just like hearing like, they don't, music's, you don't really hear that. You haven't heard that really since then.
Really
like
a
since
DJ.
A DJ on the track, cutting it up, mixing. And I just love that, man. That's just, I don't know, just something about that. And then, so I grew up about an hour and a half outside of DC, and the DC radio stations, they had some of the best DJs. So like Tigger from old BT, Basement. And he would always do his mix. Easy Street. Like I would listen to like all these like really well-known DC DJs, and they would do like like the main mix would be like the 5 o'clock traffic jam mix. And I would always like really had to fine tune my radio just to hear, because it was hard to pick up a DC station to be an hour and a half. But I was able to rig up my stereo to to get it with like aluminum foil and a clothes hanger, and that was just like my favorite thing was listening to that 5 o'clock traffic jam mix, an hour of just straight mixing. Like I just love it. I mean, even to this day, I just love mixing.
I do too, man.
And so I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, because that's kind of how I discovered you. So I'll kind of tell my story, and I'll let you tell your story just about how I got into, Christian hip hop, because that's your genre. I was a hip hop guy, like I've been saying, and then I actually became like a full, I would say a full Christian, and when I was 23. So in 2003, I just had this change in my life where I surrendered to Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and something happened where the Holy Spirit was working in me, and I was like I was going through a lot of changes, that it wasn't me. And there was just a period of, I just felt like I just couldn't listen to regular hip hop music anymore. Yeah. Like it wasn't edifiable. It just, it didn't sit well with me. So I went like 100% cold turkey. Never listen. I stopped listening to hip hop altogether, like for the most part, unless I accidentally heard it on the radio or something. And then I actually got into CCM, contemporary Christian music. So this is like when Hillsong was like kind of brand new and everything. And I never knew anything about this CCM, but I was going to church, going to this non-denominational church, first time in my life. And I was like hearing this very uplifting, like contemporary, like, alternative type music, I guess, if you had the, categorize it like a secular stuff. And so for about 10 years, that's all I listened to. Didn't listen to any hip hop at all. Oh, wow. But then in 2000, and being like, I just love hip hop music. I just love the art of it. Yeah. But what changed for me when I actually got introduced to CHH, I was in LA. This was probably about 2013. And the church I went to was it was a non-denominational church, and it had a lot of representation of different types of backgrounds and everything, but it was mostly like it wasn't an urban church by any means. But our senior pastor, Byron McDonald, they did a promo video for a mission trip, and the song that they had playing was a song I never heard before, and I didn't know what it was but when I heard the song, I was like, oh, that's like a hip hop song's rap. It was Lecrae, Tell the World with
No.
no something
Molly Music.
Molly Music, and so like this 75-year-old pastor, as wise as they come, and he made a joke like I picked a song for that video. I'm like, okay, I'm like so it opened my eyes because I never knew I didn't like I mean I heard of DC Talk when I was younger, but I just thought gospel rap was whack. And I never really gave a chance because, I never heard anything that was actually lyrically good, sonically sounded good beats and everything. But then when I heard that song, I'm like, okay, let me look into this. So I think I asked somebody who was that? Whose song was that? And I think they said it was Lecrae, and I didn't know who Lecrae was. Never even heard his name. And I think one of his Church Clothes records was out then. I don't know if it's his first one or second one. So then I just started to look who Lecrae was.
2006.
And just started like, okay, I like Lecrae. I can't remember what his songs were, but then I discovered Andy Mineo. And Andy Mineo, background. I'm like, okay, I like this guy. So it's been 10 years since then, and just how much Christian hip hop has evolved is crazy. Back then, so that's how I got introduced to CHH. What was your introduction to it?
I had this friend who kind of let me borrow like a CD that she had of it, and I was like, oh, okay, so and Praying for You was on it.
What year was this? About what time
probably
frame?
2008. So wait, so there is like Christian hip hop music, okay? Because I was still like I was Christian, but I was still listening to Jay-Z and stuff like that, and I was just like, man, I can't continue to listen to this stuff. This is, like you said, it's not edified, And it was just, I'm riding out to it and stuff, and talking about the stuff that they're talking about, which of course is not of God. And I was like, yeah, this isn't it. So once I heard that CD, I was like, so how much more of this stuff is there?
Yeah.
Like how many songs can you make about God? How many songs can you make about Jesus? So I start really like digging in. I went to Pandora, found Lecrae.
Okay.
Started listening to Lecrae.
Yeah, Pandora was the main app back then. Yep.
And I think from Pandora, I forget what else I was listening to, and I found Holy Culture Radio on somewhere, I can't remember.
Okay.
And I was listening to Holy Culture Radio like crazy, like all the time, like tuning in.
So back in 2008?
Yeah.
So Holy Culture has been around since then? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's been a while. Been around for a while.
All right. Well, before how did you actually get into DJing? Like tell that story. Like when did you?
Well, that actually leads. That kind of
okay. So that leads into it.
Yeah.
So 2008 time frame is actually when you started.
Yeah, because I was like, you know what? I'll bet there are other people who'd want to hear this type of music. So I started making CDs, but I was initially just kind of taking the songs and just putting them on the CDs, like back to back to back to back.
Yeah, just fading in now.
Yeah, and then I started researching. I was like, okay, let me check out this virtual DJ thing. Here we're back to virtual DJ.
Okay,
and I was like, so how can I take these songs and kind of blend them together now?
Yeah.
Because actually, what I was doing with the back to back songs, I was taking like the ends and kind of like layering them on top of each other at the end of the song.
Okay.
So it kind of ran right into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I want to make it better.
Right.
So I started, researching that and started playing around with that. And
okay. So did you just learn yourself? Did you have like a friend who knew how to DJ, kind of showed you some things?
All kind of self-taught.
Self-taught. Did you watch like YouTube videos, or like you just started messing around?
Yeah, just started messing around and figuring what I like.
What was your first setup? Like what were you using?
That was it. A laptop and and virtual DJ.
Okay.
I did that for 2-3 years, I think.
Gotcha.
All my mixers were that.
Okay.
And it's funny that you mentioned how you listen to DC Talk and you thought, that stuff was whack or whatever. I mean, they're cool.
Yeah.
But I used to lead off most of my mixes with the most whack thing that you could possibly think of, because I always want people to think like, okay, so this is probably what it sounds like, and then you get an earful of what it truly sounds like after that little excerpt.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like some wacky, I loved you, you know, whatever.
Right. And I'm not saying DC Talk was whack.
No,
but,
no.
But you know, when DC Talk was out, I was listening to like Daz Effects, Gangstar. So compared to Gangstar or Daz Effects, those guys, like I'm like, you know,
they're
like
on a very different level.
Yeah, not the same, not even close.
I mean, they're not even because they're their own thing. DC Talk is their own thing.
Right.
They're not Christian hip hop by any means.
Right.
They have rap elements, but they're not.
Yeah. That's cool. So when did you know that you wanted to like be a DJ? Like this is like I dig this. I love it. I want to pursue it. I'm passionate about it.
Just listening back to my mixes and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, thinking, you know, because you know back then some of my mixes were bad. But there are some elements of those
yeah, I do. I know
really
exactly what
good.
you're saying, man.
And I'd listen back and I'm like, I like this.
Yeah.
I love, because I like you said, I love listening to mixed music.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when a DJ puts stuff together, man, when I'm sitting at home and I'm sitting on the couch or whatever and I'm watching YouTube, that's my default. My default is either watching some DJ mix,
right,
watching some Marvel theory video or some junk or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, like to this day in my office, when I just want background noise, I'll put on YouTube like DJ Carlo, or just somebody where they'll just have like their 9-hour mix and just like kind of, you know, just letting that play.
Yeah.
I just love listening to mixed music as well.
I watch a lot of Boiler Room stuff because, you know, I pick up a lot of stuff that, you know, that I didn't know or whatever, or I'm like, oh, I like what they did with that effect there, you know.
Yeah. So tell me how you got. So I discovered you from Rapzilla. So Rapzilla, back in the day, they used to do a syndicated 2-hour show, weekly show. Chris Chicago, and he had some other co-host over the ring. I don't even know how long that show went. Maybe a few years, 4 or 5 years, maybe. I don't even know if it's that long.
I can't remember.
I think they had like over 200 episodes.
Because they had Jam the Hype before. That was his initial show.
Was that on Rapzilla, or was he just a Chris Chicago?
That was Chris Chicago's initial show, and then he went to rap. You know, was it Live with Chris? No, is it Rapzilla Live with Chris Chicago? Yeah.
Okay. So this is like I discovered Rapzilla. So 2013 is when I discovered CHH. So I'm like listening to it. I'm like hungry for it. You know, I'm listening to Lecrae. Then I've always been a podcast listener. I've been like one of the first podcast listeners, and then, you know, listen to podcasts, you know, just like topical things on business or entrepreneurship. Then I saw that there was a Christian hip hop podcast, Rapzilla. So I really got into that. Mm-hmm. And what I loved about that format, it was a 2-hour long show, but then the end of the show, they did a 30-minute live mix. And it seemed like almost every week or every other week was DJ Tituz. And I'm like, you know, they had other DJs, but I just liked how DJ Tituz mixed, because it reminded me of like the guys I used to listen to in DC. Like there's like really highly skilled DJs. I'm like, I just like how he mixes. Well then. So I became a fan. And then I'm like, you know, I'm a research guy. So I started looking up like, who's this DJ Tituz? And I'm now in Jacksonville. I see this dude lives in Jacksonville. So I look him up on Instagram, hit you up. I think I send you a message like, hey man, I forget what I said. And then I think you hit me back. And then you made a mix that was called Scot Free. I don't know how soon you did.
Got off scot-free, I think.
Yeah, got off scot-free. And so I didn't want to assume, because my handle on my socials is Scot-Free Divorce. I didn't want to assume was related to me, or if you were just already planning with that title. So I never said anything, like, because I didn't want to beat that guy, like, and you'd be like, hey, it had nothing to do with you. I just was going to use that name. So I didn't want to assume anything. But man, we met up for Starbucks or something, and then and that was years ago. I think that's like 2019 or so. It was It was a while back, but we just kind of hit each other up, on the socials, and it wasn't really till recently, like within the last year or so, we just kind of been talking more, hanging out. We've been going to a lot of concerts together.
For real.
We've seen a lot of concerts. We saw Social Club. We saw Ovi.
That was dope.
God Over Money.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
We
that.
we did a secular concert recently, Nas and Wu for the New York State of Mind.
De La Soul.
De La Soul too. But tell me how you actually got on Rapzilla. I want to hear that story. Like, how did you actually get into their ecosystem to become one of the DJs on that show?
So I think I was listening to Jam the Hype. I was actually cutting my grass, just out listening to Jam the Hype on my little earbuds, whatever. And I'm like, I think I could do this. So I, hit up Chris Chicago and send him a little mix or whatever.
Like, how did you find? Like, hit him up where? Like, how did you find his contact info? Okay.
Don't
So you tracked him down.
Yeah.
You found a way to send him a message.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hit him up, send him a mix. He was like, "Oh, dope, man. Yeah, we can add you on and stuff." And MC Mike G is one of the resident guys, and I think DJ Overgold was also a DJ on there at the time, and and they just kind of add me in the whole rotation.
Okay, so they already had a couple of DJs who were doing the mix, and then you just got in there.
Yeah, and then I think Overgold eventually stopped.
Okay,
so it was just me and DJ Mike or MC Mike G.
Yeah. But it seemed like you were like the main one, at least when I was listening to. Or was it like every other week?
It was every other week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I think there were times when, if Mike G wasn't doing or something or whatever, I'd be right in there.
Okay.
Because, I was chilling by myself at the time. I was single. So, and I do what I'm a night owl anyway. So I'll put together mixes like I did a brand new mix this morning.
Yep. Yeah. So, so that show eventually ended. That version of the show with Rapzilla, Chris Chicago, I think he had some health issues and all that. Did you know it was coming to an end, or did you just like?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No, I was very surprised.
What were you still doing mixes and sending them in, and like, oh, they're not producing any more shows?
I think the show just kind of was faltering, or you could kind of tell it was faltering, and he was like, well, don't worry about a mix this week or something like that. I can't remember, but eventually it just came to a halt. I was like, so what's going on? And I didn't get any clue of what was going on until later.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What year was this when it kind of came to an end?
Probably 19.
19. Okay. So
I think that's right. 18 or 19.
Okay. Like I would like you were like the source of like introducing me to like new artists, because I would listen to your mixes, because there wasn't really so we're in Jacksonville. I know in Orlando they have like a pot, I forget the name, 88.3 maybe.
Yeah.
But we're not able to pick that up, and I wasn't really listening to internet, using apps to find stations like iHeartRadio that I do now.
Yeah.
So like it was like my main source of hearing new Christian hip hop music was Rapzilla, listening to your mixes. So that show came to an end, and there was a little bit of a break, but then eventually you're on Holy Culture Radio.
Yeah.
So how did that transition? How did you get on Holy Culture Radio, and tell that story?
I had a friend that was doing Holy Culture Radio at the time, and I was like, man, let me get in, because I was a fan of Holy Culture Radio from way back in 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
And so it was like, that was like everything, to be now a part of the thing that kind of really pulled me into doing Christian hip hop. Right.
So a friend, was he on the radio, or just a friend who knew somebody?
He was on the station.
Okay.
Because he was initially on it, and when we transitioned to do on Sirius Radio and stuff like that, I don't think he made that transition as well. But.
Okay. Yeah, well, that was a big thing for Holy Culture Radio.
Yeah.
Getting on Sirius XM. Did you know that was something that they were in the process of doing?
No, not because I think I was doing it for maybe a year, maybe year or two before we actually kind of transitioned to, hey, we're going to try to shoot for being on Sirius XM. I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool, I guess. You know, not really thinking about the levity of it. Like that's big.
Yeah, that's huge. So you got a time slot Saturdays at 4, right?
Yep.
And it's station 154 Sirius XM.
God, it just changed.
Okay.
And I think it's like 1:30 or something like that.
Gotcha.
Now, like,
and I'm mad because I have my wife's car has Sirius XM, but for whatever reason, it never got station 154. It'll go 152.
Yeah.
Skip like 153, 154. Go. I don't know. I'm not even sure how that even works.
Yeah. Right.
But maybe maybe we have the new channel.
I think because I think there's a thing where it's like if you have the Sirius app on a car or whatever, for some reason it doesn't work. But if you have it on your phone or whatever, it'll work now.
Yeah. I mean, I have the Holy Culture Radio app, so I listen to it there, and then you put all your mixes on Mixcloud.
Yeah.
So that's generally how I listen to most of your mixes, since if I can't, get to it directly on the Sirius XM, in the car.
And there's a lot of mixes on Mixcloud that never make it to Sirius, to Holy Culture, because all the songs that are used on Holy Culture have to be like certified songs. They have to be locatable, I guess, on like Spotify or some major platform.
Gotcha.
So if I'm using some local yokel or whatever who put out a song, that's a dope song, but it's not on Spotify, I'll normally make a mix with that song.
So they won't play it on. They won't let you use that mix.
Nope.
So I can't give you the new song I just made, and you can't put it on your mix, and they're not
on Mixcloud.
Oh man, I'm not working on the song though, so I guess that's all good. But did you see about the I guess the founder of Holy Culture? I forget his name. Wado and some other dude. They were just on Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Did you see that one?
That was dope.
Yeah, man.
Dang it. I'm forgetting. My God, Trig.
Yeah. That was good. Yeah, that was. A lot of people have been getting on like Breakfast Club or Sway.
Yeah.
Getting the opportunity.
That was real dope
to show their skills. I know Dayton did a freestyle with. I think he was on Sway.
Oh, yeah,
I remember when
ridiculous.
both obviously Lecrae and Andy have been on Sway and has some dope freestyles on there. But what's your kind of I guess your favorite part of like being a DJ? Like what, like not favorite part, that's like that sounds like an elementary school question, but what do you love about DJing?
It's that thought of somebody's going to hear that part that you really put time into, and they're going to feel it like you feel it. Mm-hmm. I watch. My wife thinks I'm crazy because I watch reaction videos of people watching movies that I like. So, for instance, I watch people watch Shawshank Redemption on YouTube, and I watch like maybe 7, 8 different versions of people watching this stupid movie.
Oh wow, okay,
but
that's unique.
But it's that that whole thing of you like that part. I love that part too. And I want a person when I'm making my mix, I want them to feel it exactly like I feel it.
Yeah. So for me, so I DJed a long time ago. I tell this story. I retired as a DJ the day I graduated college in 2001. So from high school through college, I thought I was a good DJ. I don't know, maybe I wasn't, but most of my DJing was parties and. This is before pre-Christian, being a Christian and just having a good time. So I enjoy, because I'm a pretty quiet, laid back dude.
Yeah.
It's different. Like when I would party, I'm like more outgoing, but I just love, creating the environment for people to have a good time. Dance, a lot of it was like dancing. A lot of it was like college parties and, things like that. So I just enjoyed having that ability, that power, I guess, to do that, playing the right song.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like the I wasn't like the most artistic scratcher. You know, I could mix beats a little bit and things like that. So, you know, I had some turntables, but I mostly did CDJs. That was like the main thing. And Napster,
Yeah.
downloading music from Napster was my whole catalog. You know, I bought a lot of CDs, and I was so broke, but I remember having like a song I really wanted, and you had to buy the whole CD for like $20. Like, I remember I was getting ready to go to the beach. It was like senior week. So senior week, we always go, like, so I lived in Western Maryland, and we would go to the beach, which is Ocean City, Maryland, which is like a 4-hour drive. And I wanted to finish this mix for this beach trip for senior week. And I wanted the Ice Cube song, We Be Clubbin'. I had to buy the whole soundtrack. And for whatever reason, most CDs are generally like $10 back then, but it was like a 2-disc thing. I had to spend $20 just so I get this one song for this CD. But I needed that song to finish my mixtape.
Yeah.
So, you know, the things that we had to do back then. But then Napster came around like a year or two after that. But like I said, I just loved, you know, creating an environment for people to have a good time and dancing and all that. And, you know, I made my mixtapes too. I remember I just actually found some of my old mixtapes that I took a picture for. I put it on my Instagram, just like a picture of, you know, the tracks. I don't have a tape player to listen to them, so they probably are garbage. But, you know, then I actually got a CD recorder for Christmas one year, and I started making like mixed CDs that was, you know, that I plugged my input into. Made a few of those. So I do have a CD player I could listen to, but I'm kind of scared to listen because, you know, it's probably garbage. I mean, it might be good. I don't know, but you know. So anyways,
no, those old mixes will humble you.
Oh yeah,
you're like, oh, okay, I thought I was good at the time.
So I haven't really DJ'd anything for decades, like over 2 decades, but I have recently bought like a mini controller, like this Hercules controller is like $99 on Amazon. I bought the software algorithm DJ.
Yeah.
So, and then I have a subscription to Tidal. So you can like a lot of these like Apple Music and Spotify don't stream with a lot of the DJ software anymore, but Tidal does. Yeah. So I kind of was going on a trip last year. Actually, I went to the first New York State of Mind tour last summer when Nas and Wu came to West Palm Beach. They played there, and me and a lot of my close friends, I had 3 friends who live in Lauderdale, and my brother and my best friend from Maryland. We all made a plan to go to this concert together. So I'm like, all right, we're going to this concert. So then I bought this mini controller. I bought the algorithm DJ software. I'm like, all right, I'm going to start, just mixing, just for. I didn't record a mix, but we were hanging out before the concert and everything. So I wanted to, with all my friends getting together, like I would growing up, I used to always like DJ all our get-togethers. So it was kind of like old times.
Do the music.
Yeah, and so I wasn't that good, but it was fun to kind of mess around.
Yeah.
So there's something in me. It's like, man, do I really want to start mixing again? It just takes so much time. Because when I was in college, kind of like what you're doing now, you make mixes every single week. So you got it down to a science. But I just remember I would just stay up all night long, like practicing my mix like 2 or 3 times, and then before I would then record it.
Yeah.
So I would do like an hour and a half long. So that's 2 or 3 times practicing. That's like 4 hours. Then like the actual like real deal, I'm pressing record. Man, I just like, being
same,
running a company, being married, kids. I'm like, man, I just know what that would turn into if I actually wanted to DJ again.
My wife is like, I don't understand why you don't like to come to bed. Like I'm like up in the middle of the night, going through the whole setup of the songs.
Yeah.
And then going through it and fixing, whatever cue points I want and stuff, or how I want it to come in, come out, or whatever.
Yeah.
And go through that like 2 or 3 times, and I'm just like, all right, Terry, come on, let's record. It's like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, by then.
Yeah.
But I actually thought about something here, something that actually made me want to be a DJ. That I completely blocked out. I used to work at the Ocean Club as a bouncer.
Okay.
And they had this DJ there, Jeremy. DJ Jeremy something. I forget. He was one of the radio station DJs, and I should listen to his mixes, and I was like, I think I could probably do better. Not that had ever done any DJing before, but I just felt like it was just bland.
Yeah.
And it was like I completely forgot about that. That kind of drove me on the path of wanting to be a DJ.
Yeah. Yeah. You're probably like me too. When you go somewhere and there is a DJ, you're studying, you're listening, you're critiquing, like listening to his transitions. Okay, what did he do there? Did he echo out? Did he do a high pass filter? Yeah. Did he scratch in? Did his beats match? Did he go from, like a 86 to a 88? Like, how was he transitioning up and down? Like, that's what I'm doing. Like, kind of studying just to listen. I mean, I'm an analyst by nature, anyways, but that's how I listen to DJs. I'm like, just like, I like to flow. Then if you're somewhere and like you just give the guy props, like, hey man, good job. I was listening, and they respect that too, because most people don't even understand what's happening. They just hear the music and the transitions, and they don't really know the skill that takes.
Lot. And you completely, there's a lot of stuff that you do miss if you're not a DJ. You just think it's like, oh, that was cute. No, some of that stuff, like keeping a beat going while you got. Bringing in another song or a third song.
Yes, that's the scariest thing too. You're seeing the countdown of the song getting ready to end, and you don't have your next song queued up ready to go. Like, like all that stress.
That is it. It actually is a scary thing. Like you feel that panic. You're like,
Right. Because when you're DJing like an event, man, as soon as like the transition's bad or it's silent, everyone looks back like at the DJ. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
you're killing the mood. Yeah, man. Well, let's transition here a little bit. So this is the year of the 50th anniversary birthday of hip hop.
Yep.
And Billboard came out with a list of the top 50 rappers of all time.
Okay.
I think it's pretty controversial. I know we were driving back. We were driving back from the Wu Nas concert, and we were like talking about it. And so they, I'm not going to go through all 50, but I'll say their top 10 just real quick. It's counting backwards from 10 to 1.
Okay.
Nicki Minaj 10.
That's already trash.
Drake, Wheezy, Biggie, Eminem 5, Pac 4, Nas 3, Kendrick 2, Jay-Z 1. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe before I critique this, maybe to set like kind of our benchmark, like what's your top 5 MCs? And then I'll kind of compare it to list, and I'll give you mine.
All right. So Rakim. I love Rakim. I think he's one of the greatest MCs of all time. I'll say number 5 for Rakim.
Okay.
I do like Jay-Z a lot. I don't think Jay-Z is the absolute best rapper.
Right, he's the LeBron James of
but he's his charisma is off the charts, and he does come up with some clever stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I was listening. I to this other DJ mix today, and it had girls on it.
Mm-hmm.
Very clever stuff that he was saying on that mix.
Yeah.
On that song.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know rappers in my head. I like Tupac, but Tupac never made my list. And I know that's very controversial for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's controversial for me right now. Was this the time when you weren't listening to hip hop, when you were like into metal?
No.
Okay.
It just something about something. I don't know. Maybe it's his voice or something. Or
okay.
But I do like Tupac. I really do. But he wouldn't be in my top 5.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm curious to hear the rest of the order.
Me too. I'm struggling here. Like I feel like I should know other rappers, but
well, let me. I have 3 lists here, so let me go. I'll jump in here, and then you think of some more.
Okay.
So I have my my goats of when it was like when I was DJing. So these were my top 5. This was like my favorite. So it was, you're going to think this was funny, but when I get to the number 2. So Biggie was 1.
Okay.
And number 2 was Mace. I would tell my friends, I'm the kind of guy I would say things like kind of controversial, sort of meaning it, but maybe joke. Yeah. Mace was my favorite rapper. So I would tell my friends, this is back in the 90s, that Mace was the second greatest rapper of all time. I love Mace. So Biggie 1, Mace 2, Nas 3, Tupac 4, and 5, Puff Daddy. So this is my era. I was like I was like Bad Boy Records. That was like my main track. Yeah. So that was the influence of my list. Now I don't believe Puff was like top 5, but I would just put him on my list. Yeah. I wouldn't put Jay-Z in there. That's probably why I would put Puff, just to kind of.
You would put Jay-Z in there, but you put Puff.
I would just to like razzle my friends. I would put Puff above Jay-Z.
Dang.
But now, fast forward today. Here's my top 5 now.
Okay.
Number 1, the GOAT, greatest of all time, Kanye. So Kanye is my favorite rapper. He is the GOAT. I got Nas now at 2. He bumped Biggie to 3. So Biggie's 3. Tupac holds steady at 4. And 5, Andy Mineo.
Oh.
Yep. Yes, sir. Andy Mineo. It's top 5.
Well, okay. Didn't see that coming.
Yep. All right. So have you had time to think about?
Okay. So
finish up your top 5.
I'll give Kanye number 3 because I really like Kanye a lot.
Okay.
Okay. So I like Biggie, but I don't like a lot of Biggie's content. Like he always just a bunch of sex talk and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy was very clever in the stuff that he said. However, he's been kind of banned at our home because my oldest daughter discovered that one of his lyrics, what he's talking about, something about very, very like pedophile-ish sounding lyrics.
Okay.
Like if you go with some of his songs, you're like, what?
Okay, I don't know what like that. Nothing's ringing a bell when he said that. I'll have to think about that one a little bit.
Yeah. When you hear it, you'll be like, whoa.
Okay.
Who's on top? Who's on top, Terry?
Oh, so you're working backwards. So 5 was Rakim. He wasn't 1.
Yeah.
So you went Rakim 5, Jay 4, Kanye 3,
Kanye.
Biggie is 2.
Oh wait, Nas is on top.
Nas, okay.
Nas is definitely on top. Been a fan of Nas. I think since the Ether, like a lot of people, heard Illmatic first. I didn't hear Illmatic until after Stillmatic.
Oh, okay, wow. Dude, man, Illmatic came out. I remember when Illmatic came out. So one of my good buddies, Chris, he's from my hometown, Hagerstown, but then he moved to Winchester, Virginia.
Hagerstown, that's where you're from?
Yeah, Hagerstown.
Oh, that's one of my
from City. Yeah, from City. City represents Jacksonville and H-Town. So it's the real H-Town.
The real H-Town.
Yeah, it's not Houston. H-Town is Hagerstown.
Hagerstown, son.
Yes, sir. That's where I represent. Nolan Village. That's my projects right there. So, anyways, my boy Chris, he moved to Winchester, Virginia, which is about 45 minutes outside Hagerstown. Then he was come back with one of his friends, Nate Dogg, shout out to him. And he drove this little Chevy Spectrum with some rims on it. So like some 12-inch rims. My brother would joke that he had they look like a rollerblades, his rims. But he had this really expensive stereo in his little Chevy Spectrum. And this is when The World Is Yours, the whole Nas's first Illmatic came out. So that's like my memory of hearing Nas for the first time is this guy, this Chevy Spectrum blasting that whole CD. But yeah, man, all right, man, that's a good list. I mean, Jay-Z, definitely the LeBron James of hip hop, so I mean, Rakim, I like Rakim a lot.
I like Chuck D too, man.
I like Chuck D. I would say Chuck D and Rakim are, I mean, they're definitely, I think, if I was a little bit older like you, then, I might like them more.
You sound like Kevin Hart.
But man, we're both born in the 70s, man. We're both born in the 70s.
70s way over here, 70s way out.
Yep. So I got another list. Top 5 Christian hip
Christian
hop.
hip hop. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You want me to give you mine, or you
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
get
go
you? Okay. So here's my top 5 Christian hip hop. So obviously, if Andy's making my top 5 greatest hip hop of all time,
Gotta be on top.
he's number 1 on that list. And then it goes to Andy 1, Lecrae 2,
Okay.
3 I have KB,
All right.
K to the second.
Okay,
Love
give me a second.
KB. And I want to actually talk about KB a little bit after we go through the list, the deep dive. I have some thoughts about why he might even be moving up on the list. Then I have the half of Social Club, Fern,
Okay.
number 4. But 5, I couldn't pick 5, so I kind of cheated a little bit. I got a few people tied for 5. I got What Up RG,
Okay.
Hovey, and 1K Few.
That's a good list.
So that's my CHH goats right there. What's your CHH goats or top 5? However you want to do your list.
Let's see. All right. So number 5, I'm gonna go with Derek Minor.
Okay.
Love Derek Minor. I like always coming up with something interesting to say, but sometimes he had a humorous twist on it. But he's very real though. Jared Sanders. I like Jared Sanders a lot. Very. Jared Sanders is a beast. Actually, you know, I think I'm a double up on 4. Jared Sanders and Dayton.
Okay. Man, you're surprising me with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dayton is. Whew,
Dayton's fire, man.
yeah.
Like he's like aggressive in his flows, man.
Bizzle, number 3.
Okay, so you represent God over money, all right?
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, there's 3 God over money.
So
huh?
Bizzle is like the Jay-Z version of Christian hip hop. Been around a long time.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Very and also he's a guy that surprises you a lot. Like you're like, you know, because you forget that he actually like has some serious flows. I don't know why, because he proves time after time and time after time after time after time again that he has flows.
yeah.
But I think it's something in his voice that makes you kind of forget it. Like he has that like a southern kind of slower style.
Well,
but
he's
his
a
delivery's
Cali
good.
guy. He's a Cali guy.
Yeah, KB.
KB, okay. I thought you were gonna like surprise me again, say like Tadashi or something.
Dang, I like Tadashi, but
I do like him.
yeah,
So KB was where we at? Is he 2?
he's 2.
He's 2. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I think you can't go wrong with honorable mention. No big deal.
Okay. Yeah. I would like. I don't know if you got Jared Sanders above. No big deal. I mean, I don't know. It's your list. You can make your list however
Well,
you want.
he's honorable mention to the top.
Okay.
From between 2 to 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. I see where you're going with this.
And I think you can't go wrong with Lecrae on top. Like,
yeah, I don't think you can either.
You could put Lecrae on the track with pretty much anybody. He'll change up his style, and he has something clever to say, and he's a rapper's rapper.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. You didn't have Andy on your list though, man.
I love Andy.
Yeah.
I do. I really, 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 really do. I don't know why he's not on the list, but you know how when you have lists, it's hard to figure out who you're going to put in there.
Right. Nah, for sure. No,
maybe he's like a second honorable mention.
Okay. So your list is like eight now. Yeah, 1A, 1B, 1C. So Lecrae, then 1B is I forget.
No big deal.
No big deal. Okay,
Andy
gotcha.
Mineo.
Gotcha. All right, no, that's a good list. Now let's go back to Billboard. I think Billboard's tripping. Biggie is 6 on their list.
Oh.
And Eminem is above Biggie. I mean, Eminem's good, but I just don't.
You know, I like Eminem, but he's never moved the needle for me, like ever. Like, okay, well, forgot about Dre and Slim Shady, that era or whatever.
Yeah,
that was cool.
They were okay. It's just different.
It was different, but he's never moved the needle for me, and it's not because he's white. which that I don't know why.
Yeah. I mean, I think like some of his like dopest verses, and again, I'm not promoting it, because it's not like, Christian
Yeah.
clean, but on Rap God, fire, and then on
And I actually never heard it.
with
Kind of sad.
Lil Wayne. Oh, dude, that's like he comes so hard, and then his verse on um Forever, that like Drake song that did that LeBron James documentary.
Yeah.
His verse on that is like fire. Like, and so that's like later in his career.
Yeah.
I mean, when he first came out, I wasn't like a big fan. I actually started liking him when Dre came back out with Chronic 2001, and then those songs he did with Dre, I liked them more than his Slim Shady stuff. But he doesn't make my top 10. I know he makes a lot of people top 2 or 3 or 1.
Top 3 hip hop albums.
Top 3 hip hop albums. Okay. So, man, Illmatic,
Yeah.
Ready to Die. So Nas, Biggie, and Woo's first one, 36 Chambers.
36 Chambers.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about you?
That's a hard list to even.
I mean, that's just off the top of my head. I mean, if I thought about it more, there might be some other ones on there. But yeah, I would say those. So those are all came out relatively about the same time.
You mentioned the Chronic, and I really liked that first Chronic. That thing, man, I rode with that thing.
Oh yeah, no, that was a phenomenal album.
Oh my gosh!
Like I was so I was being from the East Coast. I was like took my side with the East Coast rappers, and I just was like dissing, like not. Yeah, I wasn't like in going on with the rivalry, but I wouldn't rock the West Coast stuff.
No, not at all.
But later on,
I was East Coast down.
Later on, like it's like I would one of my favorite Pandora stations is 90s West Coast rap.
Oh.
Right? If you play that, then it's like all the Ice Cube, all that stuff. I don't listen to it that much, but that's just a good thing. Like if you're like, working something like a big project that, that's just a good thing to have in the background, and you just like respect that stuff. It reminds me of a song. I tell people the hardest diss song ever was Eazy-E song, Real MF and G's.
Yeah.
Hardest diss song ever. I don't even know why we're getting into this, but
about
ways get on. Yeah, on Dre. That's just he just came hard on that. I mean, there's a lot of good diss songs that are out there that came hard, but I would say that's like the hardest one. You can give one if you want, or we can transition off of this topic. Trying to keep this family friendly. Don't want to encourage the young kids to listen.
Okay, so Chronic Radio. I love radio.
Okay. Yep. I mean,
and License to Ill.
Okay, you got the Beastie Boys. I love Beastie Boys, man.
I listened to that I would say CD tape at the time.
Yeah.
Nonstop, over and over again. Back.
Mm-hmm. It was crazy when just like what Beastie Boys did. It's almost like it doesn't even make sense when Beastie Boys came out and what they did, because there's obviously been other like, white rapper groups.
They kind of saved hip hop though.
Yeah, they just like it's just, I don't know. I mean, I love Beastie Boys.
Because like Fight for Your Right, the party.
Yeah.
That was like an anthem, and
right.
that got a whole bunch of suburban white kids, buying a bunch of hip hop records and stuff, not realizing that this was hip hop, and they were because they were buying it for Fight for Your Right, and probably just got all this other hip hop that the Beast Boys was doing.
Yeah,
and then started going out and getting Run DMC and LL and stuff.
Right. Yeah. No, that was like I had a neighborhood kid who introduced me to Run DMC and Beastie Boys. Maybe he got introduced to Beastie Boys first, and that opened him up to Run DMC. And then he was like sharing like these tapes he had, like letting me listen to them. Like, oh man, this is crazy. And then that kind of went into like Black Sheep and Tribe Called Quest. I already mentioned Dawes Effects earlier.
I listened to that Black Sheep album like nonstop when I was in Korea at the time.
Okay. Grand Poobah. I'm trying to think of like the first CDs I used to have. But yeah, man, that's like the good old days, man. That's just crazy. Like thinking back, like to those times because I was a teenager and life was so much different back then, man. You know, to fast forward to where we're at now.
Public Enemy tape. I forget the name of it, but it had My Uzi Weighs a Ton on it and some other, tracks or whatever. I feel like I want to listen to that.
Now, Billboard also came out with another controversial list, which was the 50 greatest rap groups. All right.
Trash.
Now, I had to analyze this a little bit. I'm not going to get to the whole list, but
let's go back real quick.
Okay.
Nicki Minaj on that first.
Oh
list.
my goodness! So Nicki is 10. That when I see Nicki Minaj 10 greatest rappers, like really, like it doesn't make I can't even. They lose all credibility.
As soon as I hear that part, I'm like,
yeah, nah, for sure. I was the same way. I'm the same way.
What was on that? Drake.
She's above Kanye on this list. Kanye's only 11 on this list, and Nicki Minaj is ahead of Kanye. Kanye should be 1. Like I just it's garbage to me.
Yeah.
But on the groups, so this is what doesn't make sense to me. So they said, Billboard greatest rap group of all time is not Wu-Tang Clan. They're number 2. Like Wu-Tang Clan is the greatest rap group, hands down, ever assembled. No one will ever reproduce what Wu-Tang Clan did with the sound. There as many, however, the number of artists that came from it.
I mean, initially I think it was like 8.
And a lot of them are in the top 50.
Yeah.
Meth,
ODB.
Ghost, ODB didn't make the list, unfortunately.
He didn't make the list.
No, he's not on the
ODB
list.
is like, crazy skill.
It's crazy. Like all of them are crazy skill. Raekwon's crazy skill. Ghost is crazy skill. Inspect the Deck, crazy. Meth. I mean, genius too.
Raekwon is ridiculous.
Like it's just amazing how talented each one of them are individually, and then the whole group. And they're not number 1. Number 1's Outkast. Now, I respect Outkast, but Andre 3000's on this list of greatest rappers. He's 12. Big Boy's not on the list, who's the other half of Outkast. But you got like 3 or 4 Wu-Tang members on this list, and Wu-Tang's not number 1 group. That just didn't make any sense to me. So garbage. That's garbage to me too.
Who else is on the groups?
3 was NWA, which okay, yeah, I respect that. Okay. 4 is Tribe.
Okay.
5 Run DMC.
Yeah.
So I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
The other 1 and 2 need to be.
I wouldn't put Outkast even in top 5. I don't even know if they make my top 10. Naughty by Nature is only 15. Fuji's 14. They're better than Outkast.
Well, they only made like a couple, so I get that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just don't like the list.
Yeah.
I don't like any of these lists, but
yeah, some of those lists are real trash.
Yeah. So anyways, man, we gave our top 5 GOATs. Everyone else has their opinions, and that's what makes this world beautiful is that listeners, when you see this podcast video on the Free Factor podcast, in the comment section, say who your top 5 is.
Yeah.
You can break it down how we did. You can do top 5 from the 90s, who was 20 years later, who your current top 5 is, who your CHH top 5 is, who your top 5 groups are. Let us know.
Yep.
And if it's if we think it's good, we'll give you a thumbs up on it. Not for real, but yeah. No, comment, like, subscribe to the Free Factor podcast. This is the first one.
Free Factor podcast. Let's go.
I don't know if I told you this was my first one. So I've been making videos.
Yeah.
But now I'm podcasting. Sitting down with friends. We're talking about things that really it's just things that I like.
Yeah.
I like hip hop music. You're my homie. Yeah. I like DJing. So this is what this first one's about. Really just kind of highlight.
Should do this more.
Highlight some of the stuff I do outside of business. If you don't know, I'm a entrepreneur in a construction real estate development company based out of Jacksonville, Florida. But more than that, I'm an entrepreneur. I love hip hop music. I'm a Christian. A lot of things. So I just want to talk about those things because I think maybe other people are interested in those topics as well. So we're gonna start landing the plane here, and we're working on an event, and we were actually supposed to be real close to doing the event, but some things happened, right? So with obviously the show's about hip hop and DJing and all that. We got this event going on called Set Free.
Set Free,
which is you can call it a mashup. It's basically CHH DJs, artists.
Yeah.
And we're basically highlighting the talent in this subgenre, and we're doing like a boiler room style mixing with DJs like DJ Tituz. We got a couple other DJs lined up, and then we're going to do DJs one set, transition quickly into an artist like a hip hop artist, doing their set of their music, going back to the DJs and back to the artists and all that. And we're working on a pretty big headliner. We have a couple of headliners that we've been working on securing. We don't want to say the names because until we officially have it locked in. Yeah. But you're gonna definitely want to come to this event. So it's
if we get that one guy locked down,
it's gonna be fire.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That one guy he was on one of my list, and so if that one guy doesn't work, actually some of the other guys we're thinking about were also on some of my list. So we're working on that. But we'll have more information coming out on that. But Set Free, like I said, it was we got another guy helping us, Javon. He's an artist. He has his own band. He was a Scarlet Letter Society. Shout out to Javon Chawwell. We'll get him on a show. Yeah. For sure. But between Javon, DJ Tituz, myself, we're working on putting this event together, and it's gonna be pretty fire. And like we said, we'll have more information coming out. But it's really just to highlight the talent, the God-given talent that these artists have, the DJs and the MCs, showcase that, but really just to kind of share the gospel as well.
Absolutely.
And that's what I love, because a lot of people don't really. Maybe we'll end with that. A lot of people just think that they have opinions, I guess, or preconceived notions about Christian hip hop.
Yeah.
But man, every show I go to, like whether it's Hovey or Dayton at the God Over Money, their tour.
Yeah.
They're breaking it down, like their testimony.
Yeah. Of
their walk to become a Christian, to surrender to the Lordship of Jesus Christ. And they're just making music that is relatable. Just like I said, I'm this unique, person. I'm half Asian. My mom's from Vietnam, but I ended up in the projects listening to hip hop music. I'm not like the typical person you would think of in that, but I just, that was just what I grew up in, and that's just what I liked. Just the art that I liked, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then I told that story earlier about when I got back into hip hop music when I heard that Lecrae song, "Tell the World." I'm like, whoa, man, this is a song that glorifies God. It's hip hop artistically. It's awesome.
And it reached you.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's what a lot of these people are telling their stories and their testimony. And if you listen to it, you'll hear it. So you just like dismissing it because it's a hip hop beat that you think is just like other hip hop music. So it's not. So I would say it's part of what the event's going to be about, is to introduce people that it's edifying, and it's giving glory. And also I mentioned KB. I want to talk about him because I feel like and again, I think there are people in this space of CHH. Maybe they're going through a season where initially you hear like gospel straight up in their mess. Not that there's like saying, quoting scripture, saying, what verses or whatever.
Some do.
Some do.
Yeah.
And some probably have gotten away from it where I'm like, even me, being a fan, I'm like, okay, I'm listening to him. Like, is this like edifying and glorifying God? And is the gospel? And maybe I don't really feel it. And, so maybe it's more positive music than it is Christian. But what I love about and respect about KB is it's both. It's straight fire with his lyrics and his beats and everything, but it's like gospel and everything. And
it is the gospel. Yeah.
I respect KB a lot.
You guys haven't checked out his book, Dangerous Jesus.
Yeah.
Bro. Yo, you know, my wife normally can like read a book and like, real quick, no time in a hurry. But this book had so many like, drop the mic moments in it. It's just hard to read because it's so, yes, bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
You're just like, wow,
Yeah.
incredible. If you, that's
Nah,
definitely worth.
Yeah, I got it on my list.
Yeah, it's good, bro.
Yeah, he did it. Jackie Hill Perry on that too, or she did a forward
She
on
did the
it.
forward, yeah.
Forward on it, yeah.
And
Okay,
that was hard too.
yeah. KB's dope. Like Hovey. When we went to the Hovey concert, man,
it was like a worship experience.
it was. I mean, you listen to it. I mean, his song "Holy Spirit" is 100% worship song. His song "Altar."
Yeah.
Oh man, when he like went just a cappella on that and live.
Yeah, that was a whole worship experience for real. I remember sitting in there like I was in a sanctuary and thinking, wow, I'm like, God is, I said this to my wife. I was like, you could really feel the presence of God in that room. She was like, baby, God is everywhere.
That is true.
Oh,
that is
man.
true. Yeah, man. So that's what I'm saying. It's you actually got to experience it and here and like
I'd definitely go see him again.
Yeah, when we went to the God Over Money show, when Dayton did his testimony, dude, man, that was so impactful, man.
Yeah,
that was fire.
Yeah, that was good.
So yeah, man. So that's we'll wrap it up with that, man. Free Factor Podcast, my main man DJ Tituz. Check him out. Holy Culture Radio every Saturday live, 4 p.m. Whatever the station. It used to be 154. It's different.
It's like 1:30 now. Please don't quote me.
But you can download the Holy Culture app, listen to it. It's basically the same thing that you hear on Sirius XM.
Yeah.
You can hit my man up on the socials. Tell him the social. Yeah, we didn't even talk about the vegan stuff. We'll save that for another. But before you tell the socials, man. This guy has 3 different Instagrams, and he's like, I can't keep up with all the memes. Like you send me memes from each account, different. I don't even know how that even works. But tell him how to connect with you on the socials.
TITUZ THE DJ Tituz the DJ on all socials. X, X, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Just hit me up.
Hit him up. And then if you want to get direct access to his mixes on Mixcloud, tell him how to hit you up on the Mixcloud.
The easiest way to access my Mixcloud page is if you go to Google and you type in at TITUZ the DJ and search that. Click on the first link there. That's going to take you to, just take you to my page. It'll probably be a specific mix or whatever, but it'll still take you to my page.
What's if someone is going to check out for the first time, is there a mix that comes to mind that they should listen to first, like your favorite mix?
Wow. Oh, man. There, actually the Assassin Guild mixes on there are pretty dang hot.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Keep That Same Energy. That was a good mix.
Yep.
But a Sword. 16 minutes.
Yeah. That was dope.
That thing is fire.
Listen to the one Got Off Scot-Free too, man.
Got Off
Scot-Free. That's from 2019. You gotta scroll a little bit to find it.
There's a lot of scrolling because it's like 450 mixes.
Yeah, you do one a week or more. I mean, you got so many mixes out there. That's crazy, man. That's
Yeah, I was trying to get to 500 this year. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a long way.
You got a little bit of time, man. You got 2.5 months. You work hard, you can get there. But yeah, I'm gonna hit up my man DJ Tituz. You're listening to Free Factor. Signing off. Check out the like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you next time.